You're listening to Brain vs. Heart. We give you a man and woman's perspective on life and relationships, telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
You can find us on YouTube and most podcasting platforms as Brain vs. Heart, or you can go to brainversusheart.com to find links to our YouTube page as well as the RSS link for the podcast.
I'm Mr. Brain, and she's Mrs. Hart. And in today's podcast, we're going to be answering some questions based on some uncomfortable situations.
We always encourage you guys to send in your questions, and you can do that by writing to our email, askbrainversusheart@gmail.com.
So, Mrs. Hart, what's our first topic today?
Well, our first topic is I, 22-year-old male, stopped giving my girlfriend, 22-year female, oral because she wanted me to do it for a long time. So, looking at the details of this topic, the guy is having issues, not because his girlfriend can't orgasm right away, it's that she wants him to continue doing it even after she's done it.
Wait. Okay, you see, you go on, you start going into it. Let me ask some questions.
Sorry.
Okay, first of all, I don't even understand the title of this. 22-year-old male, so a 22-year-old guy, stopped giving his girlfriend oral because she wanted me to do it for a long time. So that means after came?
Well, based on what he said, he would do it, and she would do her thing, come.
Orgasm.
Yeah, and then she'd want him to keep doing it for up to an hour. So it just turned him off. He said it's just turned him off to the entire thing.
I don't blame him. There is a point where it's like, okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit selfish in that respect. Okay, if it's a situation where she's having problems orgasming, then you should cut it off at a certain point and say, okay, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and we'll try to train you to come a little bit faster. However, based on his situation, she has been orgasming several times for that whole 45 minutes to an hour, and she wants him to continue doing it so she can go back to back, and that is very selfish. And I don't really blame you for not wanting to do it at all, but you need to be open with her about this and tell her, like, look, you know, what you're doing is really selfish, and I don't ask you to do that with me. And if you want me to continue doing this, I don't know if that part's going to work. We're going to have to figure something else out because this is very selfish, and it's very hard to do that for a whole hour.
Well, here's
unless you have some really strong dogs.
Here's what I would recommend first. He needs to make sure his side is done first.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Then when he does her and she gets off and she wants more, you hand her a vibrator and go into the other room and watch some TV. Mm-hmm. If she needs, maybe you'll do it a second time. But at some point, you got to be like, look, I'm tired.
Yeah, or make it a game. Be like, no, I want you to suffer for a little bit. You know, we can come back later and then I'll tease you a little bit.
Alternatively, sounds like there's a possibility that her sex drive is much more prevalent than his sex drive.
Mm-hmm.
And either his sex drive goes up, which is not an easy ask of anybody, or she needs to tame hers or handle hers outside of the primary stuff.
Right.
So he'll put his part in so that she can feel like he took care of her without her doing it. Mm-hmm. And then if she wants more, she needs to handle it herself.
Right. If that's only what she wants, because it sounds like she's just using the guy as a toy. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, but after a while it becomes a little bit excessive, especially if it's all the time. I think it's good for people to be intimate and you guys, you know, make it a game between you, but if it's actually a problem and she's not willing to compromise, then just ask her to handle it outside of that. And if she has a problem with it, if she gets aggressive, how would you handle that situation if you were in his shoes? She's like, well, you know, this person over here does this, you know, and
go with them then.
Yeah.
I would check as soon as a person pulls that out, they're it's almost like an ultimatum.
Yeah.
So I would say,
kind of unfair.
All right, bye, go.
Mm-hmm.
Because
obviously we're not the right fit.
If that's going to be a deal breaker for you, then we won't work because we are different.
Yeah.
And part of a relationship is recognizing those differences and working through them and with them.
Right. Compromising if you can't reach a compromise, or one person suffer a little bit. So, okay, if she wants to suffer a little bit, let's say she wants to come 5 times, right? And she can't agree to just 2. And let's say that he usually likes to just go 5 minutes, not for a whole half hour.
Unless she comes, I mean, if she can come once every 2-3 minutes, sure, you can come 5 times. Make a thing out of it. But if it's like 20-something minutes per come,
Which
then,
it sounds like it is.
then
That's
Jesus Christ, my jaw couldn't take that.
Yeah. It sounds fun, but you have to think of the other person as well. Loving someone and being intimate with someone is giving a little bit and taking.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you only do once. If you're going to put that kind of time in, you don't do that every time.
Not all the time, and that's what was happening.
Especially if you have a frequent sex life, like where you're doing it every other day or every day or every other day. You can't spend an hour and a half going down on someone every day.
Yeah, every day is way too much.
That's
unless you like doing it, which it sounds like you don't.
I don't think he doesn't like doing it.
It turned him off to it, which is those were his words.
Well, because he turned him off because it feels like work.
Yeah.
It feels like not I'm making this person feel good. Now as I've made this person feel good, now this person won't let me go.
Right. And the one thing I also want to put out there is don't just not do it at all, because that will ensure that, okay, well, she will run away. But just let her know, like, yeah, tell her the truth. Be honest with her about how you feel, but don't write off giving her oral sex at all because of it. Maybe give it a little break and then come back and say, okay, I'm only doing this once. Or keep edging her for an hour, or not for an hour, but edging for her for as long as you can. And then when she's ready, she has a really big one. And then you guys call it a day. And then you go back later.
Or you do what I've done in the past. Say, do what you're going to do and say, okay, look, have a discussion with her. And basically, it sounds so clinical, but on your phone, set a timer. 20 minutes. Whatever the number is that you're like, okay, after this point, I'm done.
You set a timer?
No, I'm saying mentally I've set a timer.
Oh.
You could set it on a phone, but either way, it's clinical. It's kind of like, you're running out of time. That may or may not encourage her to stop living in that. You know what it is? She likes to live in that feeling.
Yeah, I know how that feels.
So putting her on a timer may just, it may just encourage her to say, okay, I don't have time to live in that feeling. I just got to get this out.
Right. And if she wants to live in that feeling, she can do it, but she can't expect your jaws to be doing it the whole time for a whole hour.
No.
If you don't have that kind of stamina.
Vibrator. That's your only other option.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we're done with this one.
Yeah. Okay. So next topic.
I'll
let you take that one.
I just found out my boyfriend of 2 years has a fiance. What now? It wasn't your boyfriend of 2 years. You were his side piece for 2 years. He wasn't really anything to you. Mm-hmm. Go.
So the email says, so I'm going to try and keep this short. My SO, with whom I've been with for a period of 2 years, she found out that he was already in a 3+ year relationship. I found this out when I received a phone call from his fiance, which explained that they never broke up. When we met, I knew that he was with someone, but he told me that they had completely broke off.
Like in Goodfellas. You have a whore in your building. Great line from Goodfellas. If you haven't seen it, it's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was going out with this girl. So what is this person asking? What should they do?
Yeah, because in her mind, she's like, okay, this, based on what she said also here in the post, he said that he wanted to marry her. I mean, it's pretty obvious what you should do.
All right, first of all, here's what I say. The other one has a ring on it. You don't. So the other ones, right off the bat, got a lot more headway into that,
if she even still wants to deal with it. Because here's the thing. You have a guy who's been playing both of you.
Well, he's definitely been playing both of them. Because the fact that the fiance called the girlfriend and basically, what are you doing with my man? He's married, blah, 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 means that woman still wants him. She wants to keep him. So she's not... I
don't think that's the reason.
Yeah, no. You don't...
She may be calling out of curiosity.
No, no, no. She's calling because she's basically telling the other girl, back away, back up. This is mine, which means I claim ownership over it, which means she may be mad at the guy, may hate the guy, but she'll still take him back, at least right now, because she's emotional.
Right.
The girlfriend should just move on.
And he even said to her, like, we were looking into buying a house together and starting a family, and yeah. Going further down, she was saying that they had gone to therapy per her request because she always had this instinct that there was someone else, that he was still talking with his ex. I'm sure she's asked him, and he's probably lied to her. Listen, if you have that instinct, when somebody's playing you. The thing is, when we're in love, we are willing to look past it. And that's where the danger lies. The red flags that come up ever so often that you choose to ignore. So if you're having those inkling feelings and then something like this happens, walk away. This is a bad sign. Even if he tells you, oh, I'll break it off with her for sure and I'll do this, you can never trust this person because for 2 years he's been lying to you, and at the same time he's been lying to somebody else that he's been sleeping with.
Yeah, you just gotta walk away. He has a fiance. You can't salvage. There's nothing there to salvage.
And look what it says in the post at the bottom. I do not understand what it is he had to gain from the dual relationship. It wasn't about sex with me since we only had sex every once in a while.
Well,
I mean, look,
okay,
girl.
Okay.
It was pretty obvious.
Relationships aren't all about sex for men. And that sounds crazy. Sometimes it is. And then sometimes it's about power. Making me feel more like a man because I have this, I have that, I own these things, or I possess these things, these females.
Yeah.
It validates him.
It's probably he's probably a narcissist or something like that. Or maybe you fulfill a part of him that the fiance doesn't.
Yeah, maybe.
And in that respect, he has to learn. I mean, that was one of the greatest things. I say greatest things, but maybe that's one of the things that back then when people had all these wives, they're like, I feel like having someone cute and or having someone aggressive today, and they could just choose their pick of the litter because they had different personalities. And in a way, girls do the same thing. They can have a husband who they're completely happy with, and then they find somebody who's adventurous, but they don't want to settle down with, but they want to have fun with once in a while. Mm-hmm. When you get mature, if you really know what you want, you're going to have to learn to live with those aspects of that person and maybe even find ways to provide those things that you're missing. It takes work, which is why most people opt to just cheat. But it can be done. And I think this guy wasn't willing to do it because he could get away with it. He was getting away with it. This is a very long time that both of you probably knew this was going on and you allowed it to.
Yeah. Honestly, you just got to walk away.
Just walk away. It's done. There's no salvaging it. There shouldn't be a what now. There should be a, okay, goodbye. Mm-hmm. Because chances are if you were doing the same thing, he'd probably be out of there.
Mm-hmm. Find someone that actually wants to just be with you.
Mm-hmm.
And
And next time, those red flags, you were stupid in the situation, but learn from this relationship what happened to you and recognize the pattern. So when you go in another relationship, you give that person a chance. But if you start to see those same things, because people that usually make that decision with their partners usually end up repeating those same mistakes with the people who they choose. If you notice those same things in your newer partner, you'll know when to back away before it gets to this point. Because that's 2 years you can never get back that you wasted with this person.
Yeah. All right. So moving on.
Next topic. Okay, so this post says, I'm a 28-year-old male, and I have a pregnant wife, 26-year-old, who cheated on me, and I don't know what to do. We married 2 years, and she got pregnant 5 months ago. I was really excited for her. And then I found out in a group chat in which I was accidentally added to that she was making excuses about going to do errands just so she can sleep with one of the guys in the chat. I was heartbroken. When I confronted her, after she initially denied, I showed her the evidence and she confessed she had seen him starting 2 months ago. I really wanted a divorce back then, but she's pleading for me to stay for our child. Ooh, what should I do?
So she's 5 months pregnant, messing around with a guy for the last 2 months, your life is fucked. I'm sorry to say, you're screwed. Here's the problem. Who the fuck knows if that baby in her stomach is even yours at this point?
Yeah, I mean, you could get a paternity test, but
I mean, yeah, but while it's still in the mother, you need mother's consent. And she's probably not going to give that to you right now. Maybe after the fact you could find out off book if that's your kid or not, but the kid, Jesus.
This is horrible.
This is horrible.
Because you can't just leave, because then what if it is yours, but she's cheat? Okay, so there's the ethics in question. Give me a moment.
Okay.
When somebody is not pregnant, and she's your wife. Okay, when someone's not pregnant and they cheat on you, that's grounds for divorce.
Yes.
But when they're pregnant, it's not? Like, I mean, it's not like you can't still take care of the kid if you're not married to the girl.
It's really difficult once the child comes into play.
So you have to stay married with someone?
No, you don't have to stay married, but like, okay, here are the two scenarios. One, you leave her.
Mm-hmm.
Half the people you know are going to be like, oh, you know, you're going to be looked at as a piece of shit for leaving your pregnant wife. Even though she cheated, a lot of people are going to look at you negatively, like you should have tried to work it out. Because
with what they think,
I know that. I'm just saying, people around you, even your own family, may look at you like that. Like you should have tried to work through it. You got to think of the baby. This is an argument that a lot of people make. But at the same time, she was fucking someone else.
Listen, okay, here's my advice. This is a very difficult situation. But if I were you, putting myself in the guy's shoes, I would want to know for sure that's my child. And I would have a discussion with her, like, you cheated, so me questioning you, if I'm going to stay in this child's life, I want to know that the child's mine, because you've lied all this time. You lied when I told you about it until I showed you the evidence. So who knows what you've been doing for all this time that I wasn't aware of it. And you cheated. So I would ask, look, can I, let's get a paternity test. If she says no,
all right,
I would leave.
No, here's what I would do. The first thing and foremost, you want to know if that child's yours.
That's what I'm saying.
So I would say, look, we can work this out, whether you intend to or not. Mm-hmm. Give her some hope.
Oh, I see
that you can work this out. But honestly, look, regardless of the result, we're going to work through this. Mm-hmm. But I need to know for my soul if this is mine or not. Mm-hmm. We'll still work through this. Just say that.
What if she's like, what does it matter if you're willing to work through it?
Because I don't want to work through this with the doubt. I want to know one way or another.
So what if she says to you, so what if it isn't your child, but you won't raise him?
No, look, I love you and I'll love this child. But I need to know. I need to know one way or another.
She's going to argue.
Then say, I can't work through this.
Yeah.
You give her that option where, look, either I know and I can come to terms with it, mm-hmm. or we're not working through this, and that's that.
Right.
And then if the child is not yours, mm-hmm. you leave her.
Yeah.
So fast.
And the thing is, you don't have to feel bad about that because she lied to you. She ruined that trust, and she put the future of that child in danger. The future of the bond that you guys could have had in danger. Now, I think where it gets a little bit more difficult is the fact that they're married. So he can't just leave her.
Yeah, he can.
Really?
Yeah.
Just go to another state.
Okay. Look, the first thing you do is you leave the premises so she can't say, he hit me.
What if she does it afterwards? You know how some of these women are, like back in last year he hit me and that's why I cheated because I felt trapped.
There are certain states that allow rape, but legally, like after a period of time, you can't be like, they hit me. When? 8 months ago.
What if he is in a state where that could happen, though?
There's not many of those. You're gonna have to get out of that house as fast as possible. Matter of fact,
Record everything.
we record everything, and when it is time to leave, have someone there with you as a witness.
Yeah.
When you sit down with her and be like, "Look, I'm packing up my stuff. I'm leaving the house."
Have someone with you. Have them recording.
Yeah.
Not just you. And they can also give it an account as a witness, and they can have the evidence.
Yeah. Now, if it is your child, well, then you're gonna have a hard decision to make. You can choose to try to work through that, and stay in the child's life, keep her in your life, and who knows?
They don't have to be married to do it, though.
No, I understand that. You may be able to work it out. There could be a situation. She's 5 months pregnant. She's pregnant. He's not attracted to her anymore. He doesn't want to, give her any sex, so she went outside of it. Now, that's no primary excuse for being, doing that while you're married. But you might at least be able to say, okay, that's kind of my fault.
Yeah.
To some degree, but
it depends on the situation.
Yeah, it depends. But if it is your child, you can either work through it, or you can say, I'm still leaving. Get me for child support. That's the best I'm going to do. I'm going to be in the child's life because it's mine. But beyond that, I don't want nothing to do with you. It's a tough one.
That begs the other question, too. Like, there's some men who are really, like, icky about the wife's pregnant. Because 5 months pregnant is not that big.
No, you just got a bump.
Yeah, and some men are like, oh, I don't want anything to happen to the baby. And they just never have sex with the wife. And she's like, okay.
They think they think the baby's somehow involved in the sex.
Or they're going to hurt the baby. Maybe they have a really big whatever. And,
yeah, maybe some men will, like, spear the baby, but most men won't. You'll be fine.
There's a lot of cushioning in between that. So be educated on that. Get over your fear, because the last thing you want is a wife who, wants something and you're like, no, I don't want to give it to you. Like, and it's not really an excuse, because you could say the same thing for the guy. The guy, if he goes out and cheats on his pregnant wife, he's a villain if she's not giving him any sex.
Look, you could look, regardless, you can still do it. Just if you have a big one, just don't leave the balls hanging out, as the Hodge twins say.
Yeah, just work it out. Now, if you guys are married and it wasn't your fault, let's just say that she's just that kind of person, just understand that there's a possibility that even if you work it out, she might do it again.
Yeah.
And is that really something that you want to stay? Because number one, if you're raising this child together, there's a difference between you being in the child's life and you living there with the child, and the child seeing or growing up, seeing you guys at odds with each other and seeing mommy cheat on daddy. That's not good either.
I've seen couples firsthand, friends that I knew, that she or he or cheated, whatever, and they decided to stay, work through it because of the child. I've seen that. However, eventually they did still split up, because the reality is the reason the cheating happened was an incompatibility in that relationship that just didn't go away.
Well, yeah, that's why I said it depends on what it is, because I'm a product of that. My dad cheated on my mom, but my mom was also in the States for 8 years. So can you really blame him?
Yeah, she was away.
She was gone. That wasn't a marriage. They weren't together. They talked on the phone for 8 years. It's a long time. I don't even think I could last that long.
No.
So it depends on the situation.
That's the point where you kind of have to give each other, like, look, I understand whatever anybody did while the separation was there.
I think mommy was dicking around in the cookie jar too. She just didn't admit it, but she had this friend that would come over.
You give an understanding for that if a long enough time has passed where you haven't seen each other.
Yeah.
As long as when you do come back together, it's done.
Right.
You can get over that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's our answer for that. You want to move on to the next topic?
Absolutely. All right, next topic.
Oh, boy.
I think my boyfriend raped me. Really confused.